those that came from outside the country, outside the state, and those of us from within the state. We give you all thanks and glory.
Director noble. Thank you so much for that. May all be seated. You are all welcome once again. You are all welcome once again to this great event organized by the Conference for Western Attorneys General African Alliance Partnership in partnership with the Ministry of Justice, Cross River State. You are all welcome to the event. And the Deputy Governor of Cross River State. We have here with us Dr. Richard Ogbe, representing the Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice Bayelsa State. A round of applause for him. We also have here representing the Inspector General of Police, DCP Salem Vincent Amakri. Please, around. Okay, he's yet to get here. We also have here the attorney. We also have here the Controller of Prison, represented by Superintendent Abri CI. Please, a round of applause for him. We also have here Comptroller General of Immigration, represented by CSI Taofik Odetunde. Please, a round of applause for him. We also have here okay, he's yet to get here. Once he gets here, we'll recognize him. We also have the Assistant Conservator General of the National Park Service, Abuja, Ntufam Richard Effa. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, is he here? He's representing the Conservator General of the National Park. We also have the Conservator of Cross River National Park in the person of Evangelist Caroline Olori. Please, a round of applause for her. As we go on, we'll be recognizing different persons as they come in, and as we go on in the program. So to take us in the welcome address, I will welcome Mr. Marcus Green. He's the Director of CWAG. Ladies and gentlemen, Lordships here present, it is with joy and honor and gratitude I welcome the presence of the Chief Judge of Cross River State, Justice Mike Edem. Please, a round of applause for him. I also want to recognize the presence of Justice Eyo Effiong Ita of the Cross River Judiciary. I also want to recognize the presence of Justice Emilia Ibok. Your Lordship, you're welcome. I also want to recognize the presence of Justice S. Njo. Your Lordship, you're welcome. I also want to recognize the presence of Justice Imelda Etape. You are highly welcome, Your Lordship. Thank you. And to take us to the next item is the opening statement by Marcus Green, who is the Director of CWAG, Conference for Western Attorney General, the organizers of the event. Please, a round of applause as he comes up. Okay, before he comes up, we also have with us the representative of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Akwa Ibom State, in the person of Joseph Umoren. A round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir. So we have, ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, we welcome Mr. Marcus Green.
Good morning. Now, wait a minute. We can do better than that. Good morning. All right. So, I'm very happy to be here. My name is Marcus Green. I sit on the board of CWAG, and I serve as director of the Africa Alliance Partnership for CWAG. And so, this morning, what I want to do is just kind of give you a brief overview of what CWAG is, what the Africa Alliance Partnership is, and then I have a very important presentation to make before we start our program. So with that, we'll get started. So CWAG stands for the Conference of Western Attorneys General, and it's an organization based in the U.S. See, it's not working. All right, slides are not advancing. I can just talk through it. So CWAG is an organization that's based in the U.S., and it stands for the Conference of Western Attorneys. And so with that, they at one point decided to expand internationally. And so they started a program in Mexico that was very, very successful, helping with the rule of law, issues related to gang violence and prosecutions in Mexico. And then at some point we said, well, why not the continent of Africa? And so as part of our charge, we thought about how can we be helpful. And so what we did was we initially went on a kind of just a listening tour, trying to figure out where could we be helpful, where is training needed, on what issues, and it became very clear that it was on some of the same key issues that CWAG has been dealing with for years. So we created the Africa Alliance Partnership. Let me do this here. There we go. Back. All right. So just so that you understand the breadth of CWAG and how long it's been around and the importance of CWAG, these are some of our esteemed alumni, Western Attorneys General. So we have a former president, we have the current Attorney General, all members of CWAG at some point. In fact, in the U.S., we refer to Attorney Generals, or AGs, as aspiring governors. And so, again, we created the African Alliance Partnership because it maps on to what CWAG has been doing, for a very, very long time. And so what we decided to focus on was international criminal cooperation, joint training programs, and information and exchange. And what I mean by information and exchange is that when we come to a country and we build a relationship and we put on a training program, it's not designed to be a lecture. It's a true exchange of information. And so we have been to about 9 different countries throughout the continent, dealing with issues on human trafficking, anti-wildlife trafficking, preventing counterfeit drugs, cybercrime, anti-money laundering, counterterrorism, a whole host of issues. And one of the things that we've recognized, and one of the things that CWAG's recognized, is that we're in a global village, right? I mean, what happens in any part of the world affects all of us. And so the ability to improve justice for one country is an ability to improve justice for all of us. And so that's why what we're doing here is so very important. So what do? We put on seminars, we put on symposiums, we do training on a variety of issues. And just so that you understand that when we started doing this, we had a very kind of cool to cold reception, because folks naturally was wondering, okay, why are you in Zambia, or why are you in Nigeria? And once it was clearly understood that we were here simply to exchange information and simply to learn from each other, simply to provide training, to improve the administration of justice, we got buy-in. But it took some time. So these are the countries that we're in. Go back here. These are the various countries that we're in. We're continuing to grow. We're continuing to expand our network and our reach. And so it's been extremely successful thus far. These are some of the highlights of the photographs that we've had. We've had state attorney generals from the U.S. come to various countries in Africa. The Alabama attorney general, for example, went to South Africa and gave the talk on trial advocacy, the training himself, a 3-day training. He did it himself. We had the attorney general of Washington, D.C., attorney general of Illinois. We had the attorney general of Utah. And the interest in the U.S. from the AGs in the U.S. has been just extremely well received, and it continues to grow. And so that's the kind of overall presentation of what we do. It's a fairly large team, and it's growing. We have a lot of folks that actually make this training happen. And so, and one of those individuals I just want to talk a few minutes about, because you know, it's very easy for someone to join in on a program that is up and running and successful. It's very easy, right? If something's popular, if something is getting great accolades, it's very easy for someone to participate in that. But the true measure of leadership and vision is when something's at its very infant stage, when you don't know whether or not it's going to be successful or whether or not it's going to be popular or well received. An individual steps up to the plate and says, look, I want to be involved, I want to help lead, this is important. And so I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Joe Abong, our Attorney General of Cross River State. Because Joe is that individual. He was one of the very few AGs who we initially approached that understood it and got it right away. And so when I want to do a presentation to Joe, and I'm getting ready for the presentation, and people are saying, well, you know, the ends of the rule of law. So without hesitation, he was there. And when we asked Joe to come to Abuja for our inaugural, actually Lagos, for our inaugural program at Lagos Business School, he said, I'll do it. When we asked him to present a paper, he said, I'll do it. When we asked him to get on a plane and fly 23 hours to San Francisco and give a talk and vouch for our program and talk about the value of CWAG AIP, he said, I'll do it. So he's always been there for us. And so he's always been our kind of unofficial ambassador for CWAG Alliance Partnership. When we've asked him to call other AGs and vouch for the program so that we could recruit and expand, he said, I'll do it. And now we're at a place with this program where we started off where we had I told you, a cool to cold reception. Now we get so many requests for programming that we can barely fulfill those requests. But again, Joe was there from the very, very beginning. And the most amazing part of it all, never taking credit for himself, always referring to his governor, always referring to the fact that the governor allows him or has bought into this program, into this process. So what I want to do today, I want to announce that CWAG, for the first time in the history of CWAG and the first time in the history of the Africa Alliance Partnership, we're installing Joseph Abang, our Attorney General, our friend, as ambassador to CWAG. And so I'm going to ask at this point, I have a presentation to make. I'm going to ask for Chief Adigbe, SAN, to come to the stage. I'm going to ask John Adozier to come to the stage. And John is always a little reluctant because, see, John is the guy, he's usually behind the scenes making everything happen. So he's always reluctant to come front, but we want to make sure that you're recognized. We want to ask Abella to come to the stage. And then I want our facilitators who have traveled from far and near to be here today with you to come to the stage for this important presentation. Mr. Attorney General.
I'm sure that your Honorable CJ will not leave you here alone.